the side effects of this drug because it's so important.
So the metabolic doc tries to scare us away from MK677 by listing all these side effects. Now, as usual in the medical community, just like any medication, when you go online, you see all these horrible side effects that something could cause. In reality, a lot of those side effects only impact 1 out of 1,000 people, 1 out of 10,000 people. But they have to list it. That's how the medical community works. Unfortunately, what happens is you lose the relativity of it because it sounds like the way they list it that everybody's going to have that side effect, when the truth is you might take it and you probably don't experience any of those side effects. The first side effect he brings up is cortisol. Does MK677 increase cortisol? Yeah, but the benefits of MK677 outweigh the effects of cortisol by so much that it's totally irrelevant. Like, why do we care about cortisol? Because it causes fat gain, because it causes muscle loss. But MK677 causes so much fat loss and so much muscle gain that it more than outweighs the effects of cortisol. And can MK677 increase prolactin? Yes, but what's the practical effect of this? Because with MK677, people feel so good, sex drive can actually increase. But their prolactin increases, which maybe could decrease sex drive and performance, but it's also outweighed by the fact you feel so much better when using him. Now, if prolactin actually becomes a problem, then we can take things that lower prolactin. There's a lot of things that lower prolactin. Anything that increases dopamine usually lowers prolactin. But in the bodybuilding community, if you want to take something really strong that lowers prolactin, pramipexole and cabergoline are good. However, there's so many good nootropics that we should be using anyways, regardless of whether we're trying to mitigate side effects of MK677, like bromantane, for example, that increases dopamine and therefore can negate the effects of MK677 on prolactin. Anxiety, palpitations, and heartburn are not side effects that I've seen with MK677. These may be side effects that 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 people experience. So it's good to be aware of these possible side effects. That way, if you're experimenting with these compounds and you do feel it, you could be like, oh, that might be a side effect of this compound. Maybe I should change my dosage. Maybe I should change my frequency. I want to remind you that a lot of this chemistry, people use it wrong. They take too much, they take it for too long, and then they have side effects and they say this compound causes side effects. When in reality, the lack of strategy in using the compound that causes the side effects, because MK677 can be taken less often. It can be taken at a lower dosage, and then maybe you get all the benefits without getting the side effects. So it's not just about what drug you take and what are the benefits and side effects. It's what drug do you take at what dosage and at what frequency, and what does that supplement regimen produce as far as benefits and side effects. Don't overgeneralize and just say this compound causes this side effect, because at the appropriate dosage, it doesn't cause this side effect. Metabolic Doc says that it causes prediabetes or poor fasting glucose. Yes, again, that's true, but Slim pills completely negates that. So we just always take MK677 along with Slim pill. Not only does it negate that side effect, it's really synergy. You get the 1 + 1 = 3 effect, and you get even more fuller muscles, even more fat loss. Like, this accentuates the effects of the MK677.
Can you imagine PCT for HGH using some of these secretagogues? Amazing.
Metabolic Doc doesn't understand why a bodybuilder would use MK677 as a PCT, post-cycle therapy. So when bodybuilders do steroid cycles, they take high dosages and then they come off, and they got to take something when they come off to restore their natural testosterone levels and, balance their health and also maintain the muscle that they built during the cycle. So there's 2 different reasons why bodybuilders use MK677 during PCT. One is to preserve the muscle that they built during the cycle, because MK677 is anabolic and it helps build muscle, and yet it doesn't work through the androgen receptor, it doesn't lower natural testosterone production, and it doesn't interfere with the detox during the PCT. When you PCT, you should try to find things that help you maintain muscle that don't interfere with your PCT detox, and MK677 is amazing for this purpose. Now, the other reason why we would use it during PCT is PCT for the growth hormone pathway. Now, this one I agree a little bit more with Metabolic Doc in that he didn't say it exactly like this, but I'll explain it a little more thoroughly. When you take growth hormone, your body stops producing its own growth hormone. So when you take injections of pharmaceutical growth hormone, then your body says, okay, we have enough growth hormone, we don't need to release our own growth hormone. So you suppress your natural production of growth hormone. But it's different than testosterone, right? When you take steroids, you suppress your testosterone. It takes your testosterone a long time to come back. When you take growth hormone one day and you don't take growth hormone the next day, your body produces growth hormone like normal. Like there's not much a delay in your body producing its own natural growth hormone, meaning that on the growth hormone pathway, we don't really need a PC. Coach Trevor believed that taking MK677 along with high dosages of growth hormone would be the healthiest because there is a slight difference between your body producing natural growth hormone and injectable growth hormone. And therefore, it's healthier to use MK677 than it is to use injectable growth hormone, according to Coach Trevor. So Coach Trevor's approach was, we don't want to shut down natural production of growth hormone all the time. There are some benefits to the body producing its own growth hormone. So while we're injecting growth hormone, we will also use a low dosage, like 10 milligrams, at least a few days per week of MK677 to get a nice pulse, a day of pulsing of natural growth hormone levels. Now, he was doing that sort of growth hormone PCT approach while on the actual injectable growth hormone, but it could be done afterward. It's not really necessary because even when you inject growth hormone, your body's going to produce its own natural growth hormone shortly after anyways.
Using MK677 because I am 36 years old and I do not recover the way I used to when I was in my 20s. And I'm lifting pretty heavy weight.
This 36-year-old girl is taking MK677 for recovery. She doesn't recover as well as she used to when she was younger. I experienced the same thing. When I was younger, I could recover from workouts really quickly. Now, if I'm natty, if I'm natural, it takes me really long to recover from workouts. But when I use growth hormone or MK677, I notice my recovery is much faster and more complete. It makes a significant difference for workout recovery or pretty much any other type of recovery. Now think about this. That's also an athletic benefit, like because you can train harder, you can train more frequently, you have more complete recovery, more muscle building, more fat loss. But it's also the quality of life benefit. Like you feel like crap when you have slow recovery. And when you have fast recovery, you feel superhuman. It makes a huge difference in how I feel when my body feels recovered. And as we get older, recovery slows down. And as we get older, MK677 works even more effectively to speed it up. So if someone younger, like 18, is using MK677, are they going to notice faster recovery? Maybe not that much because they already have really fast recovery. But me, now approaching 40 years old, when I use MK677, I notice a significant difference in how fast I recover and how good I feel when I'm using MK677. So here's some before and after pictures from people's MK677 cycles from the internet, and I have no way to know whether these are accurate or not. But I will say that I have seen amazing transformations done with just MK677. Remember, the benefit of an MK677 only cycle is that it doesn't impact your natural testosterone levels whatsoever. There's no hair loss, there's no acne. Like all the steroid side effects don't exist with MK677. So you could take MK677 and still consider yourself natty because all you're doing is just increasing your body's own natural growth hormone production. So why do some people have such extremely amazing transformations from it? Probably because they had low growth hormone before, and then when they take the MK677, now they have superhuman levels of growth hormone. Now their fat loss, their muscle building, and their recovery time improves so much that it makes a drastic change in their body. I think it depends a lot on where someone's starting point is and how intelligently they use it. If someone takes really high dosages of growth hormone for a long period of time, it might start working the other way. They might develop, if they're taking it without slim pills. Okay, if they take MK677 high dosages, long period of time without slim pills, it might start working the other way. They might actually start at some point gaining fat and losing muscle. Taking MK677 by itself is going to burn fat and it's going to build muscle or be anti-catabolic a little bit. But if someone's actually working out really hard, then it's going to make a significant difference. If you work out really hard and take MK677, you can work out harder and more frequently because of better recovery. Have more fat loss because it'll act as an amplifier to the fat loss that's already happening. It'll be releasing even more fat for the body to be able to burn that fat. And when you're causing the muscle damage and then you're giving yourself growth hormone, or MK677 is causing growth hormone, then you're amplifying the amount of muscle being gained. So the quality of the transformation is going to depend a lot on what are the person's pre-growth hormone levels, were their growth hormone levels low, in which case it's going to have a more significant impact. For example, someone's older and has lower growth hormone levels is going to make a bigger impact than someone who's young and has really high growth hormone levels. And also how they train. If they train really hard, then it's going to be exponentially more effective. There's a lot of fake natties out there. They tell you that they don't take steroids, but they could develop a really amazing physique by taking things like MK677. MK677 is no joke. it increases growth hormone levels to the same amount as if you were injecting actual pharmaceutical growth hormone. So someone could consider themselves natty. They could tell you they're natty, but in their mind they know they're using MK677, but they're justifying it because they're increasing natural growth hormone. But they're actually getting an extremely anabolic and a very powerful fat loss benefit from it that rises to the level of some steroids.